Good evening. I hereby call to order the January 26th, 2022 meeting of the Gaithersburg Historic District Commission. For the record, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being remotely telecast, so please bear with any of the bumps in the road that we encounter. For our roll call, please answer present when I call your name. Assistant City Attorney Eric Perla.
Present.
Planner 2, Chris Berger.
Present.
Community Planning Manager Greg Mann.
Present.
Commissioner Rudy Morgan.
Present.
Commissioner and Vice Chairman John Roddy.
Present.
Commissioner Mary Jo LaFrance. Is she? You're on mute, Chris. You're on mute.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you're good. We will be expecting her shortly. I believe she'll be present. Commissioner Mark Feinstein.
Present.
And myself, Commissioner Chairman Deviations says present. We have a quorum, and we do not have a need for an alternate commissioner tonight. So next is our preliminary statement, which is as follows. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and the members of the commission are in file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard today. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other applications. Okay, does anyone have any conflicts of interest for any application being heard tonight? If so, please raise your hand and verbally indicate so. And I see no one. Okay, very good. All right, next on our list, we have elections on the list, but we've decided to wait for Mary Jo. She's in transit, our commissioner, another commissioner. So we'll have the elections at the end of the meeting, which then brings us to, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris Berger, historic area work permit review. The first one being HIST 9168-2022. Is that the next one?
Well, we could do the minutes also at the end of the meeting, or we can do them now. I'll leave it to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I did skip those. All right. So yes, we could do minutes right now. Well, actually, she's coming, so we can do the minutes at the end.
Okay.
Actually, based on that, what's more important for her to be arriving in time? I would say the hop. So let's do the minutes. That's no big deal. So next we have approval for the minutes for our December 15th, 2021 meeting. Does any commissioner have any corrections or additions to the minutes? If so, please raise your hand and verbally indicate so.
No.
I hear and see no one. Okay, very good. All right, so I'll just make a motion to adopt the minutes as written. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, very good. Just a roll call then. Aye if you support the motion to adopt the minutes, nay if you don't, abstain if you wish. Commissioner Morgan? Do you vote to adopt the minutes?
I move to adopt the meeting.
Okay, all right. And so it's been seconded. So the question is that a yes that you adopt the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, it's an aye. Very good. All right, Commissioner Rodney?
Aye.
All right, Commissioner LaFrance, can she hear us?
Yes, she can.
Okay, did she say aye?
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Feinstein?
Aye.
All right, and Commissioner Ventola says aye. So that would be 2, 4, 5 to 0. The minutes pass as written. Okay, so next then we do have the historic area work permit. And the first one being HIST -9168-2022, which is the retroactive review of minor changes to the garage, residence, driveway, and fence at 605 Steinbeck Avenue in the MXD, which is the mixed use development zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, tech team page 8, please. The subject property is individually designated as historic and is zoned MXD, mixed use development. The application comes before the HDC in accordance with section 24-227A of the city code. The HDC has reviewed the renovation of the property twice before In November 2020, the HDC approved HIST 8690-2020 for a one-story rear addition and raising of the roof on a different rear addition. At its September 2021 meeting, the HDC approved HIST 9001-2021 for construction of a garage, deck, driveway, fence, and walkways, planting of landscaping, and retroactive elevation changes. For this application, the applicant seeks retroactive approval for a number of minor deviations from the previously approved plans that I'll now go through in detail. Next page, please. So this is the approved plan sheet for the front elevation of the house and also the new garage, which was recently constructed and reviewed by the HDC last September. Next page, please. And this is the approved plan sheet for the garage. So I'll bring your attention to, in the bottom center plan, note the size of the windows on the side elevation. And they appear to be short and squat, almost square in that elevation in the bottom center plan. Next, in the center left plan, note the shape of the garage panels, the door panels, and the presence of handles on the garage. And also note that up in the gable peak there, there's a 2/2 sash window. In the center plan, this is the east elevation. Note that the number of windows that are found on the egress door, it's a glass door that pretty much from the top to the bottom. And then on the front and east elevations, note the number and lack of exterior lights next to the garage doors on the front elevation, and then next to the egress door on that side elevation. So if we can go to the next page, please, we have photos of the after. So this is a photo from the real estate listing, and it was taken earlier this month when we had some snowfall. And you can see the garage doors are more square in pattern than what was approved. And there are 6 columns of panels per door when there were supposed to be 8 columns per panel. And also note that the doors lack handles, as was on the approved plans. The window, as I mentioned, was supposed to be 2/2, a sash window, and it was supposed to be more rectangular than it is. And also note that there are lights to either side of the garage doors that weren't on the plans. And I will note that the city's residential plans reviewer said that these lights are required as part of the building code. Next page, please. This is a photo I took last week, and when I was out there, there was a crew that was installing kind of a makeshift grid on that existing window to make it appear closer to what was approved in September as part of HIST 9001-2021. Next page, please. These circled windows are on that right side elevation. Those are what they were supposed to be, shorter and squatter as seen on the approved plans. And if we go to the next page, please. And this is from inside the garage, so you can get a different look and see how they're longer than what was on the approved plans. And next page, please. And you get to see them again. Again, they're longer than what was approved. Next page. So this is the left side elevation, the door to the garage, and it was supposed to have 10 windows that extended from the top to the bottom, but that's not what was installed, as you can see. And again, there was a light to the left of the door there that wasn't on the approved plan. So to wrap up on the retroactive review of the changes to the garage, staff would like to note that section 24-2272B of the city code reads as follows. In the case of an application for work on a historic resource, the commission shall be lenient in its judgment on plans for structures of little historical or design significance, or for plans involving new construction, unless such plans would seriously impair the historic or architectural significance of surrounding historic resources. So with that, in staff's opinion, we support the changes. We're disappointed there were so many departures from the approved plan, but we do support them. We do seek a condition that the applicant has the option to convert the existing 2 light window on the front elevation and the gable peak to a 4-light window, which is what they were doing already. So now we'll move on to the residents. Next page, please. So there are 3 deviations from this plan sheet. The first and the second floor, a window wasn't installed as was approved on this plan sheet. And again, an exterior light was installed at the door, which again is required by building code. The door was not built how it was approved. It was to have 4 window panes in it. And it was to be taller, as you see on this plan, it was supposed to be taller than the 2 adjacent windows also on the first level. So if we go to the next page, you can see that it's actually lower than the 2 adjacent windows. And I think that was a drafting error. You can also see that the door has only 2 window panes in it when it was supposed to have 4. And of course, the second floor window, it was never installed. And next page, please. Here's another photo I took. And as was the case with the sash window in the garage gable peak, it looked like the contractor was trying to alter the window and the door to make it look like how it was originally supposed to, or was approved to look, with 4 lights. And next page, please. So this is an interior view, so you get to see how the door is with the 2 lights. And next page, please. So now we're going to the rear elevation, and this is the approved plan for HIST 9001-2021, approved in September. And a window was supposed to be installed in the gables, the gable peak there, when the roof, after the roof was lifted up in this section of the house, but it was never put in. So for some reason that window is shown as existing on this plan sheet, but so that was another drafting error, but it was never in there in the first place, and it wasn't installed now. So next page, please. So you can see how it looks. If you look behind the crook in that tree, it just wasn't installed. Next page. This is the left side elevation, the approved plans from September. The circle door was supposed to have 6 planes. And also note that there are no lights, exterior lights shown on these plans. And next page, please. And this is how it looks now. So note that the door has 9 panes, and then there are lights at all the doors. So to wrap up the changes to the house, staff again is okay with the changes. None of them affect the historic integrity. And staff does seek a condition that the applicant have the option to convert the existing 2-light window on the right side elevation door to a 4-light window in the door, which again, it looks like they're already doing or did anyway. Next page, please. So now we're looking at the paving and the fence, and we're looking in the area between the garage and the house on this site plan. So the plan shows that the fence was supposed to extend to the front edge of the house, and the paving was to wrap around the front left of the garage. And if we can go to the next page, please. This was the other site plan that was approved in September. And again, you get to see that area between the house and the garage. The fence was to be located in the side yard, and the paving was to extend farther around the house and connect with the walk in the backyard. And next page. This isn't the best photo, but you can see that that connection, the paving connection, was not made. And next page, please. And here you can see how it turned out. The fence and gate now end here and connect the front of the garage to the back of the house. And staff also supports these changes. The fence is more conspicuous from what was actually approved, and the smaller paved area has led to the retention of more green space. So to summarize everything, staff is okay with all the changes and finds that they comply with the city code and that they are compatible with the historic property. We're disappointed that this was another retroactive review for the work, but overall, we're happy that someone took the initiative and a great deal of money to make this property habitable again. So to conclude, I'll introduce the homeowner, Jill Matthews, the realtor, Mike Aubrey, and we also have the architect, Rod Brana.
Welcome, everybody. Do you guys want to add anything to what Chris has already said? I'll go through your names right now. Mr. Brana, would you like to add anything?
Not really. I'm available to answer questions if necessary. I think that the process was very good. I commend the historic board for many of the suggestions they made throughout the process and the review staff, which also was very helpful. I worked in many different counties and cities, and I found that Gaithersburg is one that was outstanding in terms of its ability to respond quickly when we had some problems. And we did. If you recall, this property had no water, no sewer, no electricity, no gas, and it was in total disrepair. So it was a very interesting and kind of crazy process to get it all to where it is today. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Aubrey?
Hey, so I think that what I would say to you guys is I want to give you a little bit of color on what has happened with the property, just so you have a backstory on it, given the significance of it in the city of Gaithersburg. You know, it's been almost 1.5 years since we embarked on this journey. And when we first presented to you guys, I want you to understand that it was Miss Matthews' intention to restore the home and to live in the home. And I think that what happened as we were going through the process of restoring the property, Miss Matthews has a disability. Her disability has gotten worse. And it became evident over time that it was going to be very, very hard for her to live in and be steward of a property of this magnitude, given its historical significance. She, however, as has been pointed out, decided that she remained a stakeholder in the restoration process. And even though she found that she wasn't going to be able to live in it, I think that she wanted to have it restored correctly and was a stakeholder in making sure that it was done right, that it was done to standards that you guys would be happy with, that the community would be happy with, and even further, that we got a buyer who also wanted to take over as a stakeholder. This was something that we agreed with the folks from Westbrook about, and so I would commend Miss Matthews for sort of carrying that torch, even though it became something she wasn't going to be able to do herself. I think that a bit about what we've been dealing with during COVID, and I'm sure you guys have heard this on the nightly news, and I'm sure you've talked about it with other applicants. Supply chain issues are real. I mean, and they are incredibly hard. And so some of the things that were done out there that weren't necessarily 100% in the spirit of what was permitted from you was candidly because we just couldn't get product. I mean, we waited months and months and months to get the garage doors that we got, and they weren't the doors that we were supposed to get. And so we put them up. Yeah, you know what I mean? We were kind of left, you throw your hands in there. Are we going to have no garage doors at all, or do we use what we have? And so I think that many of the decisions were made that way. I don't know if anyone mentioned, but with regard to the concrete, the fact that we have less pervious surface out there, I think is good for the environment. I think it looks good, and I think that we're also doing some justice to the environment. A bit about our buyer that's under contract, that is going to be a stakeholder. They own a historically designated home now. So these are people who know the drill. They get it. It's not someone who is going to sort of buy their first historically designated property. It's somebody who knows exactly what they're getting, exactly what is going to be expected of them. And I think people who will probably end up being in front of you at some point. Be careful, she's a lawyer. But nonetheless, I think that you know, they're going to sort of take over their stewardship in the way that we would all want them to take over. Finally, the last thing that I would ask, and I did mention this to Chris the other day, and I thought I would bring it up. It was too late for it to be in our application. Our buyers have done their home inspection, and one of the items that was pointed out that somewhat coincides with an item that was not done is they pointed out that we have not ventilated that attic. And when I say not ventilated it, we've not ventilated it at all. It was just missed. And so one of the things that we were thinking to sort of kill two birds with one stone is we already had some approval for a window on the rear elevation of the property. We were thinking potentially if you guys would allow us to remove the glass, and we could do it with louvers. It's not in a really conspicuous location. That would allow us to have some ventilation into that attic. And again, I mean, you've already approved that window to be there. We would just be asking for you to change the approval to allow us to put wood louvers on it instead of glass.
Tech team, if we can pull up page 21 so we can show where that proposed louver would be.
Is it where the proposed window is supposed to be?
That's correct.
Okay, yeah, that answers my question.
So yeah, it's the circled window, the window that
Good.
wasn't installed.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, anything further, Mr. Aubrey?
Nope, I think that's it, unless you have questions.
Okay, Ms. Matthews, would you like to add anything?
I think that Rod and Mike had all good things, all the right things to say. I think it's awesome that the house is absolutely gorgeous and is back on the market because it sat empty for so many years and we brought it to this, and I'm happy about that.
Wonderful. I think the citizens of Gaithersburg are happy as well. Okay, next then is the public is now invited to speak. I understand that initially there may not have been anybody, but let me just read it in case somebody does want to chime in. To indicate that you want to make a comment, if you're on a computer or laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window, then you should see a raise hand button pop up. Click on that button and we can call on you. If you're dialing in on a telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand.
I see no one.
Okay, very good. All right, then. Next then is let's hear from the commissioners. When I call your name, please state your thoughts and questions for the applicant. Okay, Commissioner Morgan.
I'll start with a question. The first question is to Mike Aubrey. You did mention that the deviation from their plan is mainly justifiable to the supply chain issue. While you were explaining, I was thinking, what all deviation, was it intentional or was it supply chain issue? And you did state as supply, because I'm having the same issue with in my work, basically. How quickly, how long did it take you to do the construction from the approved plan?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. Is that me or is,
No,
I'm just having a little
yeah.
trouble understanding him.
Breaking up on my end as well.
Yeah.
If I'm okay. How long did the construction, what was the period of performance for the construction after the plans were approved?
I mean, nearly a year, pretty close.
Okay, a year. Okay, all right. Okay. The second question is for the architect, Ron Brenner. Mike indicated that we have not ventilated the attic. To what extent is this statement true? Is there a detail for the eave of the roof on your plan?
The eave of the roof is fairly narrow on this property. And so we didn't really look for opportunities to ventilate there. Yeah, and as I said, at some point, the idea came that perhaps we could use this window as an opportunity to do the ventilation, but we didn't want to proceed opening the window until we had the conversation about turning it partially or totally into a louver.
Okay, that's a core requirement. That's a problem that need to be addressed.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. Outside of that, outside of the numerous deviation, the replacement or substitute for windows and doors, I don't have any problem with them. Just looking at the end product, I am in agreement with the staff of accepting the replacement or substitutes for the windows and the doors. I don't have any problem with that. I think it looks simple and basically approved as for hardware on the garage door. I think by just having it without the hardware, it looks good. I don't have any issue with that. My only concern is the ventilation. I think that needs to be addressed.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Roddy?
Yes, I have a question and I'll direct it primarily to Mr. Berger, but if he wants to devolve it to the applicant team, he can feel free to do so. In the conditions that staff is recommending as to the walkways and the driveway, you refer to asphalt and tar. Are you making a differentiation between the two substances or not?
I believe you're.
If so, what is it?
That's not the subject of this application. The paved area is concrete. Everything's concrete.
I'm sorry. Beg your pardon. Never mind.
Okay.
Withdraw the question. I'm done.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. Commissioner France, and by the way, welcome.
Glad to be here. Hello, everyone. I don't have a question. I just have a statement. I asked Chris Berger earlier today about the iron handrails that are on the side of the house and on both sides of the deck. And apparently we approved those. And I just wanted to state that I think we missed an opportunity to choose something more historically appropriate. All right, so as far as the actual record for this evening's discussion, I agree with the city staff's recommendations. And I guess we need an answer to the question, can we approve a louvered vent in lieu of the window tonight, or does that have to come back to us?
It could be reviewed tonight in lieu of the window that wasn't installed. Greg, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. If the commission, if that was the commission agreed upon that.
Of course, it'd have to be added as a condition.
Okay.
Anything further, Mary Jo?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Feinstein?
I'm in support of the changes, the deviations from the approved plan. My one question, and it's maybe more of a staff question, has to do with the ventilation, because I'm concerned that the window, the small window that's going to be louvered, will not supply enough free air to meet the code requirements, which will therefore prompt further modifications that would perhaps come back to us. And I just wanted to understand how that could be addressed.
Really good question.
Yeah, you're certainly right that our building code officials will need to look at it, and I believe it would require a separate residential improvement permit for the work. So if you can make the condition somewhat open-ended, that planning staff, meaning Greg and myself, can coordinate with the applicant on choosing a compatible design for that maintains the historic integrity of the home, but also meets the, building code requirements for ventilation, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Can I ask to throw this in? I think you guys touched on it earlier with Rod. If we didn't have enough air in there, the next likely move would probably be to try to put it in the soffit. It's pretty hairy up there in terms of a lot of the original timbers that were there below that original roof, but that likely would be the next place that we would go if we weren't getting enough air exchanges to try to put like some flat soffit beds there. We decided to try to stay away from it because we thought that it would stay more with the historical structure to not show those soffit vents rather than putting something louvered on the back of the house.
No, I think it's a good solution. It's, but just to make sure that it meets the requirements. And then I agree that I think the next solution would be the soffit, but then you'd want something to make sure that you get enough circulation that pulls it up from the soffit, whether it be another or on the other two gables, are there, I can't remember, are there windows there?
Yeah.
There is
guess-
a window on the front elevation in a gable peak. I don't know if that window actually is operable. I don't know if it actually opens at all. Probably not. It looks original to the home's construction, so I don't know how it's ventilated. I have never been up there. I haven't been in the house since it's been completed, so I can't speak to air ventilation up there right now.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it
Chris.
was never ventilated previously. This would be the first time that likely that space has been ventilated since the house was built.
Well, it was ventilated because it was all open. It was just framing.
Yeah. I think it's kind of not our purview to solve the issue because I mean, we just, I have no issues with it coming back before staff and them finding a alternative solution or a solution that meets the, the historical integrity of the house.
Anything further?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm next and last. I agree that that the attic has to be ventilated, and I was wondering if this house is as old as it is, how did it ever not have blistering wood and warped and opening up of siding and roof sheathing? I can't imagine any roof, because the heat gets so intense up there. Any roof has not been destroyed without ventilation. So we have to have ventilation. We all agree on that. It sounds like nobody's opposed to when they put in the previously approved window in that gable end. We're sounding like we're all okay with that previously approved window to instead of be an attic vent ventilated. It just occurred to me, one of the things that you might be able to do, and again, it's not our purview, so it's not even a recommendation, but if there was another place to draw air in, because nothing will expand well with the air if it doesn't have a chance to have an intake and an egress, just like Mark was suggesting. So if you can find another place that's small, perhaps you can use a mechanical vent on one of them to draw the air out, while the other vent is a dummy, not a dummy vent, but just an open vent that allows the air to draw in. That'll pull it out, is what I'm thinking. But otherwise, it'll just be stagnant with that small little vent. You're not going to get much air turnover there. But again, it's not our purview. I can say that if we can bring up the photo, I think it was on package page 12, photo of the garage. Actually, it's the drawing of the garage. If you can bring up the photo of the garage where it had the crossbar in the small window. I don't remember what page that was on. I actually had written down the page numbers off of the.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. See the little crossbar. Apparently, that's just a temporary crossbar. But my thoughts are: does everybody think that that should be put in permanently? It almost looks like it's on the back side of the window, but I would say put in a crossbar permanently to make it look like, a 4 square versus 2 verticals. But that's my only thought on the garage itself. Does anybody else care about that, or is it okay with the 2 verticals?
I concur with you, Dan. I think it looks good. The
All right.
full.
Thank you, Rudy. One of the things is the garage door. There's actually 13 line items of things that were not done to our original approval. Some of them, to me, are, I hate to use the word no-brainers, but the lighting, the security, not the security lighting, but the lighting outside of doors is a code requirement. So that's just a no-brainer to me. We have to approve that. It's code. And the other would be the doors themselves, the garage doors themselves, as long as they have a vertical, which they do, a vertical pattern versus a horizontal, which was the original. So the owners did make that change. So again, that's fine. That looks fine by me. I was against it being the horizontal. But the other, I mentioned two, I guess, three. So the other 10 items, it sounds like nobody really has any big concern on. So is there, before we go to a vote, was there any other of those 13 items that you guys saw? Like one of the other big ones is that there was supposed to be a window in that blank area. Could we pull up the photo of that, please? There was in the new addition, there was supposed to be a new window. And if Mark, if you recall, that was your suggestion to put that new window. Well, it never got put in. So can we look at that photo?
Page 19.
Yeah, so it's not the circle, but to the top right of the circle, there was supposed to be a new window there because that whole part is a new addition. So it was easy to put in at the time. Mark, you suggested it, if I recall, to put something there, window there, and we all agreed fully. So that's my question to everybody. You guys, are you okay with that window no longer being built, even though it was probably just an oversight when they were constructing that addition, or are you guys want the window? Mark, let's hit you first because it was your idea. Well,
I mean, I think it would.
we're all in agreement with it.
No, I think it would improve the elevation, but is it imperative at this point in this stage of the development? I don't think so. I would have liked it to have been in there, and that's why we suggested it at the time.
Okay.
Is it, you look at a historic house that has additions, an obvious addition off the back, it's not uncommon to have gaps, in the way the elevation looks with the windows and things like that. They tend to evolve. However, yeah, I think it would have helped that blank space.
But you're okay with it not being there as constructed?
Yes, begrudgingly, yes.
Okay, all right. And the rest of you guys, chime in, John or Mary Jo. Mary Jo, you got your hand raised. What are your thoughts?
Actually, thank you, Dean, for bringing that up. I forgot one of my questions was, will the window be added later? So I guess what I'm really trying to ask is the applicant still beholden to completing the application, that we approved? So where are we with that?
Well, that question very simply can be answered is that it's before you now. That is what we approved. There's 13 things they didn't do according to the original approval. And so the question is now, are you accepting those changes that were presented tonight? Or are you requiring, or are we going to require them to make changes back to any of those 13 items that we originally approved? So that's the answer. It's tonight or now or never.
Well, I, for one, would like to see that window added as we approved and to give the house more balance and a more appropriate appearance from that side.
All right. So
if I could actually interject real quick,
yes,
it may be
please.
worthwhile asking the applicant what's behind where that window would have been located. I don't know if it's a closet or a bathroom or something that may not allow a window to be located there.
It's twofold. I mean, besides for the fact that just so you know, to take you back to our prior meeting, we were trying to use windows from other places in the property, actual historic windows, and relocating them. And we're able to do that with some of the other stuff that we did. In this case, we didn't have another window to use. And then swoop in sort of the functional aspect of it, which is putting a window there that ended up becoming was an upstairs primary bedroom and bath. And candidly, it would have made it pretty darn hard to put any furniture in there. I mean, literally, there would have then at that point been windows or a door on every single wall, and it becomes a little tough to live in the house.
Okay, thank
Um,
you. Anybody else want to chime in? Rudy, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I prefer to leave it as it is.
Okay.
And looking at the elevation, looking at the photograph, I think there's a vent in that location, and I think that's what, if you look up, see, it's up right up the circle. There's a vent, and I don't know what is behind the wall.
Can't see that.
I'm not
That's
following
the
you.
kitchen. I think that's the
not
following
kitchen.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, I understand the complexity of construction in regard to the supply chain issue we're facing across the nation. And sometimes if you replace these windows, and let's say you have 4 windows to replace, and after you've done that, you go back to the supplier to get the same window, you have to wait for months to get the window. So there's a lot of constraint from the end user or from the customer or from the owner of the house. And so my perspective is to leave that side of the elevation as it is.
Okay. Okay, very good. All right. Right now, there, out of the 13 items that were different than what was approved, so far, there's only 3 items that were called into question. The missing window, the garage gable end for, the 4 square, and then the attic vent. Is there anybody else on commission who has any other issue with those other 10 items that were changed? Sounds like no, but I just wanted to make sure if you had anything, any concerns, right now is the time to bring it out. Okay, I hear and see no one. Okay, so now let's do a quick vote on these 3 items, and I'll do what I do typically. I'll hit the item, and then you guys just tell me. I'll hit all 3. You guys tell me individually all 3. So Rudy, for you, missing window, you already said you're okay with that, right? So we don't have to worry about that, right? The missing window on the side elevation, right? All right, so then the next is the garage gable end. You were okay with requiring a horizontal bar muntin to be added. Is that correct?
That's
okay.
correct.
And then the attic vent, they didn't put in the window that we approved, but they're going to be putting it in as a vent now, and you're okay with that too, right?
I'm okay with that, yes.
Good, all right. Next then is Commissioner Roddy, same 3 questions. The missing window, are you okay with the window not being there?
All things considered, yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you. The garage gable window, that small little window that's there now, is 2 light, 2 verticals. So do we require a horizontal bar to be, a muntin to be added?
It would look better as a 2/2.
Okay, very good. And then lastly, the attic vent, it's where the window is supposed to be in the gable end. They're going to be putting in a vent, which we all know they need to have ventilation. So are you okay with that?
I am okay with that. I think the condition should be expanded to require them to work with staff as to placement of any other venting facility.
Good suggestion. Okay, that's great. Yes. All right, Mary Jo, you're next for the missing window on the side elevation. This is your issue. What's your vote? It sounds like you want the window, but you can change your mind or keep it. What would you prefer?
I would prefer the window, but I will vote tonight accordingly as a whole package. And I agree with adding the Mullins so that it's a 2/2. That's the way it would be more appropriate on all of the windows and doors that were mentioned. And I agree with the installation of a vent and working with the staff and the applicant on where to add another vent and make sure it's all code.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, Commissioner Feinstein, for the missing window, I think you already chimed in that you're okay with it being,
Yes, I concur with.
You're okay with it not. Like, we're not going to order them to put it in. Okay, next then is the garage window, that small 2 vertical lights to add a muntin to make it 4 square.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, and then the attic vent, I know it has to be vented, but are you accepting that instead of the window or another alternate ventilation concept, that you're okay with the vent being
I
added?
am okay
where
with
the window is? Got it? Okay,
for the
good.
suggestion, yep.
Wonderful. All right, then I'm next and last, and you guys, I'm sure you already know my thoughts. The missing window, I'm fine with it not being there. The garage window gable end to be a 4 square. I believe we should require that. In the attic vent, I believe we should allow that to occur. All right, very good. So I think that's pretty simple. We already know what the vote is. It's actually 5-0 on each one of them. So we don't need the window. We're going to require the muntin, the horizontal muntin in that window, and then we're going to allow the vent to be placed where the window is supposed to be. Terrific. Okay, so now before we go to a vote, is there anybody else wants to, any other commissioner want to say anything further before we go to a vote?
I just want to
Saying
make
no
sure,
one?
I just want to make sure it's clear that it's not just the one window of the garage that muttons were added to. They were also added to some doors and other windows. So we need to clarify that all of those are included in our vote.
Yes, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Thank you, Mary Jo.
Well, I'm unclear then. What are you saying?
The garage, the windows on the garage also required cross muttons. So that was going to be a condition to the staff. The staff recommended condition was to allow for either to be a not included or have the cross muttons included. There's the image there.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. All right, so then I'm sure based on the small little window at the gable end that we're all in agreement with adding that, particularly since it was a suggestion by the staff. Is there any one of the some of the commission who is fine with the windows not having the muntin on the side elevation? Speak up now, please. And I hear and see no one. Okay, good. Well, thank you, Mary Jo, for picking that up.
And I believe there's another door as well, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is that part of the staff recommendation?
It was not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There's only one door that was missing. It's the right side elevation door.
Okay, yeah, I see that now.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that part of the staff recommendation?
It was,
Yes.
yeah.
It is. Okay, so that'll be part of it. Okay, good. All right, good. Great. Okay, so now may I have a motion to approve or deny this application with or without conditions?
If I could interject real quick one more time, I think we're going to add a third condition about working with staff on the roof vent.
Yes.
Okay.
We are.
Chris, do you have language for that condition?
Staff or applicant to coordinate with staff on the installation of a roof vent in the rear elevation gable end.
Okay, very good. Looking for a motion.
All right, I move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff reports, findings and recommendations, grant HIST-9168-2022 retroactive changes to the garage, residence, driveway, and fence, finding it to be in compliance with section 24-227.2 of the city code with 3 conditions. And we are adopting the 3 conditions recommended by staff with the modification, whereas the first 2 conditions from staff grant the applicant the option to convert the windows to include the cross buttons. We're removing the option and making that a mandatory condition.
Wonderful. Okay. Did the attic ventilation get addressed?
Yeah, that's the third. I did not adjust that from what Chris said.
So that's already part of the, maybe, I guess, can you read the conditions?
I'll read it again. Staff to coordinate with the applicant on the design of a roof vent in the rear elevation gable end.
Okay. All righty. Any other thoughts or requirements to be added before we vote?
Need a second.
Right. Okay, so may I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, so let's go to a vote. If you support the motion with the requirements and conditions, nay if you don't, stand if you wish. Commissioner Morgan.
Support the recommendation.
I'm sorry.
I said aye.
You said aye. Thank you. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. All right, Commissioner Roddy,
Aye.
Commissioner LaFrance,
Aye.
Commissioner Feinstein,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ventolo says aye. So it's 5-0, motion passes. Congratulations. And what a project. I'm sure that it was enlightening every step of the way for you guys. It's always, renovations are the hardest thing. So you guys have a smile on your face after you know that it's done. So that's a nice thing. So congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing her back to life. We really appreciate all of your love and care involved in this. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, next then we have the second hop, which is HIST 8391-2020, which is 1-year extension. Request for retroactive review of windows and floodlights and proposed walkway installation, driveway expansion, greenhouse demolition, and trees removal at 105 Russell Avenue in the R90 medium density residential zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, very briefly, page 113, please. So this is a map to refresh you of all the changes that were reviewed at that meeting in January of 2020. I spoke to the applicant earlier this month asking for a status update because I knew we were coming up on 2 years, and he requested the 1-year extension. He said he contracted COVID pretty early on and he has suffered long-term effects ever since then, and it's really prevented him from doing the work. He also runs a catering business, I know, and I think they've been pretty hard hit. So he said he would like to get the work done in the next year and requested the 1-year extension. So are there any questions about that?
Well, we'll go with the commission, but let's first, I guess, ask, is there anybody other than yourself, Chris, who's representing the applicant?
Nope, just me.
Okay, and then the public now is invited to speak. To indicate that you want to make a comment, if you're on a computer or a laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window, and you should see a raise hand button pop up. Click on that button, and then we can call on you. If you're dialing in on a telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand.
I see no one.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so now for the commissioners, I want to call your name. Please state your thoughts and questions for the applicant's representative. Commissioner Morgan.
I have no problem with extension, 1-year extension.
Okay, Commissioner Roddy.
I also have no problem with the 1-year extension.
Okay, Commissioner LaFrance.
I just wanted to know, I had asked Chris Berger earlier today through email, has anything been done in 2 years? And pictures, but apparently there isn't any pictures.
No, nothing has been done. So there's no change to the pictures.
Okay. I have no problem giving a year extension.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Feinstein.
No issues.
Very good. All right, and Commissioner Ventolo says the same thing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that there are some conditions to the approval.
And those will
Yes.
carry forward, yes.
Yes, all right. So then whoever reads the motion, please read those conditions.
We actually don't need every condition read into the records. It's part of the original approval. So I think it's just a standard motion approving the extension to be sufficient.
That sounds good.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion. Approve with or without.
Motion, Mr. Chairman, can I ask a
Yes.
clarification question, Mr.
Sure,
Berger?
please.
Sure.
Well, once again, talking about the conditions, is there a differentiation between tar and asphalt?
In regards to the parking pad and driveway, they're similar, there's slight differentiation. I can't tell you of an example of tar in the city. I think it's rarer and rare. So I think asphalt would be the likely choice in this instance. But I believe asphalt is a more modern material, more rocky material. I would defer to one of the architects on the board
we don't use
if you had
tar.
more details on that, but yeah, I believe tar is more of a syrupy, less bumpy material. That would be my interpretation of it.
Montgomery County. I don't think Montgomery County authorized tar anymore. I don't think so. I think it has some environmental issue. I think it's more asphalt application than tar.
Yeah, I know the
Which is-
city has approved asphalt recently, but
Right.
I couldn't tell you of any instances of tar. I'd have to talk with our site development coordinator to see when the last time he's seen that.
Mary Jo?
I would like to say that I have fortunately been able to be a member of this city long enough to have seen tar and chip. So
Yeah, I think so.
I may not be able to give you all of the details about the material, but what it appears like when it's done, a tarry substance is put down first, and then some gravelly chips are thrown on top of it. I don't care for it because it doesn't hold up after long-term use of vehicles over and over and over again. It was the preferred material for historic places for a long time because it had been so commonly used. But almost everybody nowadays either wants cement or asphalt because they want something that's longevity that you don't have to maintain a lot. And that's what I can tell you about tar and chip.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I want to say something to that. I can't find the correct verbiage, but I did a project and I received something from MDE, Maryland Department of Environment. They have discouraged tar extremely. It has environmental impact. So when the chemical is used in it, and with its strength and weakness, once it start fading and start dissipating basically based on the wear and tear, the wash of rain, snow, water going into the stream is very, very environmental. It's an environmental problem. So MD discouraged the use of tar. I need to find the verbiage. I have that in a comment that came from MD when doing a project at the Food and Drug Administration.
Well, thank you for that information. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
I just looked it up. Sorry to interrupt. I just looked it
No.
up. As of December 18th, 2012, the use of pavement sealants containing coal tar is prohibited in Montgomery County. I don't know if
Yeah.
that,
Wow.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, it sounds like our design guidelines need to be updated then.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. Mhm. Yes.
Okay, I'm not clear. Did we have a motion?
John,
We-
didn't you make a motion? Somebody did.
I don't think we made a
I don't think
motion.
we had it.
Okay.
Did we?
No.
Actually, I thought John interjected before we went to a motion, but if whoever it was who made a motion, just restate it, please.
I don't think it was made, but
I don't think it was made, but if you wish, I'll make one.
Thank you.
Based on the exhibit submitted, the applicant's testimony and the staff report findings and recommendations with regard to HIST 8391-2020, I move we partially approve and partially deny with 3 conditions. And those are the conditions that are set forth in the staff recommendation. That the driveway and parking pad cannot be asphalt. That the walks cannot be asphalt. That the applicant coordinate with staff to replace the the trees and replant within 180 days of the permit removal permits rather. And to replace the 7 wood sash windows.
They read the way it is says, because essentially what happened was we only allow wood, but they went ahead and changed 7 windows to vinyl.
The vinyl, we want to replace the vinyl and with the wood. And of course, keep the existing wood that is there. And that would
Well-
be in 180 days.
I think they changed, didn't Chris Berger, didn't they remove the wood windows and put vinyl?
If some of the windows have been replaced, yeah, and that
Yes.
verbiage about 180 days, that relates back to January 2020, and they haven't met that 180 days. That was in the peak of COVID time, so we weren't really enforcing that. So basically, the motion just needs to be, you're extending the historic area permit 8391-2020 for 1 year to
Okay,
expire.
but you're saying had the requirement to maintain wood windows, because if they put in the, if they took out wood and put in vinyl, don't we have to make a statement today that says that they have to take out the vinyl and put in wood?
That all was approved in 2020. You took care of that in 2020, that they have to replace those vinyl windows. So basically, all we need to do tonight is say that HIST 8391-2020 is extended 1 year to January 29th, 2023, in accordance with section 24-2271E of the city code.
Wonderful, and
All right,
that's good by you, John, right? Okay, all
I'll
right,
simplify my motion to be read that way.
okay, very good, thank you so much. Second, please.
Second,
Very good. All right. So voting. Commissioner Morgan, aye, nay, or abstain that you agree with the motion and the requirements.
I agree with the motion.
Commissioner Roddy,
Aye.
Commissioner LaFrance,
aye.
Commissioner Feinstein,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ventolo says aye. So it's 5-0. Motion passes with requirements, conditions. Okay, very good. Next then is we're circling back, election of officers. Let's see if I can get it correct this year. I messed up last year. Let's see here. All right, so first up is the election of chair. Would someone like to nominate anyone for chair?
I
Nominate Dean
nominate
Ventola.
Dean Ventola. Mhm.
Oh, well, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Thank you very much. All right. Is there any other nominations for chair? That's what I messed up last year. Does anyone else have a nomination for chair? Okay, and I hear and see no one. Okay, so can someone please make a motion to close the nominations?
I will move that we close the nominations with the office of chairman.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
And second, thank you very much. All right. So then, all in favor, if you're in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Any abstain? No, so, okay, motion passes. All right. Next then is to formally elect the chair. Can someone make a motion to elect the chair?
I would make such a motion.
All right, second,
Second,
okay. All those in favor of electing the chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Dean, you're stuck.
aye. Aye.
All right, any opposed? None, and I abstain. So that would be, right, am I getting the math right? 4-0 to 1 abstention. Is that right?
That's correct.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, sir. Good. Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. Next then is election of vice chair. Would someone like to nominate anyone for vice chair? And I would like to nominate John Roddy for vice chair. May I have a second?
I second.
All righty. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? I hear and see no one. Okay. Can someone make a motion to close the nominations?
I move that we close the nominations.
Okay, second.
Second.
Thank you. All right. So all those in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
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 All right. Any opposed? I hear or see no one. Anyone abstain?
I abstain.
Okay, 1 abstention. Okay, so that passes 4-0 to 1
I didn't
abstention.
understand that.
What the heck was that?
I think Siri is talking to everyone.
Fury. Oh, okay. Now I know. We're being monitored, everybody.
It's possible.
Big Brother chimed in. I wonder how Big Brother's voted. But Big Brother voted for you, John Roddy. Okay, so can someone formally, we now will formally elect the vice chair. Can someone make a motion to elect John Roddy as vice chair?
I move that we elect John Roddy to be the vice chair.
All right, second.
Second,
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and did you say aye, Mary Jo?
aye.
Great,
Oops.
and anyone opposed? I hear no one, and anybody abstain?
I will abstain.
Very good. All right, so congratulations, 4-0 to 1 abstention. Congratulations, Mr. Vice Chair. And I think that's it. All right, so next thing is, I believe, anything from staff. Eric, we'll start with you.
Nothing.
All right, Chris?
Congratulations to our chair and vice chair continuing
Thank you very
their
much.
service. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. All right, Greg,
Nothing, just echoing Chris's congratulations.
thank you very much. Thank you. All right, anything from the commission? Rudy?
Nothing. Congratulations, Dane and John.
Thank you. All right, John?
Nothing.
All right, Mary Jo?
Congratulations. And also, I would like to mention, I received an email that the mayor and council are considering
Yeah.
going back to in-person at city hall board meetings as early as February. So I was wondering if we are following suit, Chris Berger.
I'm gonna defer that one to Greg Mann.
As of right now, no decision has been made. Last I heard was the quasi-judicial boards, Planning Commission, HDC, and the Board of Appeals, for example, would be returning probably in March if that schedule holds true. But again, nothing's for sure yet, right? And I think we all are used to now, things could change quickly. So
Yes.
we will definitely be in touch with everyone, probably at least a month ahead of time once we know when the in-person meetings will start back up.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The only thing that I would, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Good.
The only thing I would say is, are we supposed to wear masks during the meeting or not?
Again, I don't know. Everything right now, again, nothing's been formally decided yet, what the policy is going to be. But again, once
just
Chris
say-
and I know more, we'll obviously definitely pass it on to the
I
commission.
guess my 2 cents is that if we're going to be required to wear masks, I personally prefer to continue with the Zoom. That's my
Me
own
too.
thoughts. 2
Yep.
cents.
Dean, that
Yes, sir.
it was a follow-up email to that asking for us to provide proof of vaccination.
Yeah, I remember.
Did that email come from your office? I just want to confirm.
Whose email came from?
They'd come from the city of Gaithersburg, if that's your question.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
there is an
So
email that went out to all the commissions.
Are we obligated to provide the information, whether we are vaccinated or not?
That's
I believe
confidential.
I believe
There's a
you can
section that
say,
allows you to remain silent on it.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Just checking.
Right.
Well, now wait a minute. Now, if we're going to talk about how we're going to disseminate this information, the way I read the email was that you were voluntarily stating whether you were vaccinated or not. And that if you said you were, and you in fact turned out that you weren't, legal action could be brought against you. And at some point, you may have to provide your vaccination
Yeah.
information. That's the way I read the email.
Yeah. That's my understanding. I just want to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't, what the document was saying is that you have to be honest in your decision in whatever you select. There's several selections, but one of them says that you can choose not to provide that information. That's one of the selections you can have.
Okay.
So they're saying that if you put a false information, then that is improper. That's not something that we're allowed to ever do. But you don't have to. You can elect to not disclose that information.
Where that's one thing with this, it's different with the federal government because they give you that option But then once you take that option, and it's a follow-up email asking you why.
Oh,
And because-
well, you
so
know,
it's like a setup, so.
I don't know anything about it. I
Yeah,
shouldn't be talking
it's
about stuff
real.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
if you're curious, you can call to the city. The person who sent the email, you can contact them with any questions.
Yeah.
But I would-
Yeah. No, I don't have any problem with vaccination because I still have a job with federal government. Those who refuse to get vaccinated, that's problems. So
If anyone does have any questions, though, I mean, feel free to reach out to Chris or myself through email if you like, or give us a call. But the email
Alright.
did come from the city's clerk's office.
okay,
Um,
all right.
So again, we can obviously direct your questions to the correct person if need be.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think I was going down the list of anything from the commissioners, but I think I didn't hit Mark yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, congrats to Dean and John again. And for the record, I look forward to meeting back in person. I have no issues with wearing masks or no masks or whatever. I just look forward to the human contact.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just think that it's very unusual when I see people behind a dais wearing masks. It just,
Yeah.
If you need masks, then you shouldn't be sitting 2 feet away from somebody.
You should stay home.
Well, but that's my point, is that if it's still contagious, then 2
Yeah.
feet, 1 foot next to your neighbor on each side, the mask isn't going to protect you. So that's my only thought. So, all right. Anything else from anybody before we adjourn? I hear and see no one.
Let's do it.
Adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Thank
night.
you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.